We currently find ourselves participating in the Nelson Mandela Debate Challenge. The aim of this debating competition is to explore the legacy of Nelson Mandela. We're going to be exploring Nelson Mandela in 3 parts because we believe that he had 3 very significant phases in his life. The first, we'll be exploring Nelson Mandela the activist. We'll be talking about the activism that Nelson Mandela engaged in, but not only activism that he engaged in, we'll be mirroring it with activism that happened during the apartheid era in general, and we're going to run those parallels. Importantly, we are also going to be running the parallels between the activism, anti-apartheid activism, and contemporary activism, and the forms that they take today. We'll take the kids on a tour of the Apartheid Museum, for example, of Hector Peterson Museum. We'll take them to Soweto and have different dialogues and conversations about that era. And we'll have 2 debating rounds in Soweto discussing those very issues. So what we do, just generally, is that we use debating as a tool for education. So our debate motions are the very educational tools that we use. We put kids in a position where they are polarized by a topic and they have to unpack its meaning through a world school style debating format, a debating format that is very rich, but we are trying to scale it to as many young people as possible because of its benefits. And that's what the tournament is, that's what it's about. And what we aim to achieve, as I said, is to have a full unpacking of Nelson Mandela's legacy, a full understanding, but it's not an ordinary debating tournament. It's a tournament with the aim of spurring young change makers from this space and meaningfully, literally changing their lives after the program itself has finished.
Okay, so I'm on the South African schools debating team. So I think it's generally one of the most challenging things. Apart from the training, it forces you to think about a lot of things, not only within your country, but forces you to evaluate the way in which things operate in your country in contrast to the way in which things operate in other countries in the rest of the world. This experience has become about more than just my achievement as a debater. I don't feel like I'm a debater in that room. I feel like I am one of the kids sitting there discussing the legacy of Madiba.
So my debating experience started a few years ago, and it was, so basically, like, I could describe my debate life as like a learning journey and experience. So I think like the thing that I could take from debating is just like how much I've learned both about like international things that are happening and issues that I've come to like really care about, to a point where it decided my career. Like that's how much like I've learned and become passionate about it. But more than that, like the Nelson Mandela Challenge has helped me like come back to like the South African borders and the issues that like South Africans face, as opposed to like the international community.
So it's been a great experience. You get to learn, you get to meet different people, you get to engage topics from different perspectives, and this experience is just an escalation of that.
It opens areas and scenarios where you actually learn about what's happening within today's society and how it has changed over time, and you learn about how you as an individual can actually change society and different points of views on society and how you can move forward. And with the Nelson Mandela Foundation challenge, how it helps with that is that it gives us a platform to learn about South Africa's history and how Mandela has changed South Africa's history, right?
I think I didn't realize just how much like Mandela's legacy meant to me until I came here. So Mandela's legacy really to me means like, it means that I get to continue something like bigger than me. So I think Mandela started something really great, and I think like it's up to us to really continue that on.
It's really impactful. It's the idea that a man who is seen as a terrorist by some, an activist by others, can become sort of the champion of everyone. Can balance that, can walk that line between actually doing something to help people while not feeling like he's trying to knock down others. Right. This is something some people call him a sellout for, but I feel like it's something that I want to reward, and I would like to reward him for. It's something that I want to take into my life as well. It's easy to knock down someone you see as your opposition. It's a lot more difficult to build your side while still trying to work together with the people you saw as your enemy. And that's something that's very impactful to me, because I want to become a better leader.
The reason why I'm more than comfortable with sitting in that room and saying this is because the legacy of Madiba isn't one that says, listen to what everyone says. It's one that tells you to question everything around you, to question whether you are where you deserve to be, to question whether his very legacy that we learn about today is the legacy that is the truth, to question whether he could have done things better, because he's just a human like the rest of us.
What Mandela means to me is an individual who would go to the last extent to fight for my freedom, even though he didn't know me personally, but he would go to the extent to fight my freedom when he says that it's an ideal that he hopes to live for, but if needs be, an ideal that he would die for. To the point where someone would give up their own lives for me to conceptualize my own belief and my own freedom, for me to be here now, right? I think that's important to me specifically.